Archaeology has done it again. The Israeli Antiquities Authority began digging out or excavating a site that was pointed out to them by the Israeli Roadwork Department. As they were digging or excavating this site out, they came across such things as we're going to find out in this news report. Discoveries that continue to show the historical accuracy of the Bible. If this is the first time we're meeting, my name is Chris, and this is Foundation Bible Studies, where I seek to help connect you with your Creator in Jesus Christ, both informationally and experientially, so you can find the significance and purpose that you were created for. Now, if you get anything out of this video, I ask that you like and subscribe to the channel, which actually helps the channel to reach more people as we are living in some chaotic times, what Jesus Christ called the end times. And that way we can be prepared and know how to be prepared for all that's coming down the road. And with that, let's jump into the content. So this report comes from allisrael.com, and as you've seen probably in the thumbnail, if you're watching on YouTube, there was a depiction of this metal fragment. And as we read through this article, we're going to find out what this metal fragment is and why it's so significant. I will also link the article in the description, whether you're on YouTube or on the audio version of the podcast as well. So it says, sensational discovery. Archaeologists uncover rare 2,550-year-old silver coin in Judean Hills. Now, if you're not familiar why this is significant, go back and begin to check out my Search for Truth Bible Study playlist. If you're on, you can check that out on YouTube if you're listening on the audio version, or if you're here on YouTube, you can check that out here on YouTube as I go through a Bible study series, and from Genesis to Revelation, we learn some significances. But just in short form, there came a point where the kingdom of Israel, which was an individual kingdom, split off into two portions. Overall, they were already kind of divided up among themselves, within themselves, because they were 12 separate tribes, and but yet they were unified as one individual nation until they split into two separate kingdoms, the nation or the kingdom of Israel and the kingdom of Judah. And so the kingdom of Judah was the major tribe of that section of the land. And so it was called the kingdom of Judah. And so this is where the Judean foothills find themselves to be significant. So it says a small coin has huge implications for understanding history of trade and currency. And this came out January 17th. So yesterday, according to the time of this recording, which is January 18th. And if you're on the video, you can see a clear screenshot of this silver coin on a black background. But continuing on, it says Israeli archaeologists recently found an extremely rare silver coin dating from the period of Persian rule in the land. So 6th to 5th century BC. So 5 to 600 years before Jesus showed up on the world scene. At an excavation site in the Judean Hills, Israel's Antiquity Authority announced on Wednesday the importance of this special find lies in the way it sheds light on the transition from the use of cut pieces of metal. So you just think of like chunks of metal that are weighed out, to the very beginnings of the world's first minted currencies. The coin itself is of a very rare type and now joins a limited collection of about 1 dozen coins of its kind discovered through legal excavations in Israel. The coin was minted in a period when the use of coins had just begun, explained Dr. Robert Cool, head of the IAA numismatic department. So there is a video that is embedded in the article if you want to check it out. It's like a little shorter than 2 minutes, and it's in Hebrew with English subtitles, but you can see the actual excavation site, which is really cool to see the work that they are just starting to do at that site, so to say. The coin was found initially broken or cut into two pieces, indicating a later use in the 4th century BC as a weighed piece of silver rather than a coin. So the way the article lays it out, there were two historical ways kind of dealing with money. There were ways to weigh silver, just pure silver, and to weigh it in comparison to a what was called a shekel. It was a standard weight, and when you watch the video, you see that shekel was sometimes a rock, and it was It was weighed against other things to make sure the weight was accurate. And so then eventually it went to weighing these chunks of metal or these cut pieces of metal to weighing or to minting coins. And so if you go back and you go through all the article, you'll get to read that. So continuing on, dropping down a bit, it says the coin belongs to a group of very early coins that were minted outside of Israel in the regions of ancient Greece, Cyprus, and Turkey. In the 6th to 5th centuries BCE, such coins began to appear at sites in the land of Israel. Cool added. Unlike later examples, the coin was minted with a square stamp embedded into one face, while in later centuries, more sophisticated techniques were developed to produce coins with protruding features. The Greek kings in the 7th and 6th centuries BC, who ruled in the northern Levant and throughout Asia Minor, decided to have their signs minted and struck on the pieces of silver that until then were used for commerce. And here's where it gets a bit more biblically significant. It says the coin is therefore a testimony to the transition from the use of simple cut and weighed pieces of silver and gold, like the shekels used in the time of Abraham, which you can find in Genesis chapter 23, verse 16, and King David in 2 Samuel chapter 24, verse 24, to the minted currencies we have known until today. It is also proof that the Holy Land has always been an important place of passage for trade since the very first minted coins were found. In addition to the rare coin, archaeologists revealed an even earlier building from the time of the first temple period and a shekel weight, again testifying to the presence of trade and commerce. These kinds of weights and their importance in everyday life are often alluded to in the Bible. For example, honest scales and balances belong to the Lord. All the weights in the bag are of his making, according to Proverbs 16:11. Another example can be found in Proverbs 20, verse 23. The Lord detests or he hates differing weights, and dishonest scales do not please him. And then just one last part. A characteristic four-room house was uncovered from this period, and the shekel weight found on the floor of one of the rooms in the house provided early evidence for trade. Noted excavation directors Mikhail Milstein and Danny Benayoun. Now, when it comes to the ways discoveries like this are significant, this just goes to show how accurately God and those who have been faithful to him, how they have accurately recorded history, things that were going on, weights and different things of that nature. And so my question to you is, what do you find significant? What significance do you find in discoveries like this? How does it affect you personally? Perhaps you're a skeptic, perhaps you're agnostic, perhaps you're even an atheist. But how, when they say science does not, the Bible does not line up with science, archaeology is both a science and an art, they say. And so, how does this, in its scientific aspects of discovery, how does it deal with your mind? How do you perceive that? Now, the way this is also accurate is, or the way it's also significant, is that God, through the Old Testament, New Testament, tells us that there are signs and indicators of that we need to be watchful for the end times. And we are definitely living in the end times. Now, if you got anything out this video, again encourage you to like and subscribe to the channel, or subscribe to the podcast if you're listening on the podcast version. But I want you to check out my video on the end times if you're not familiar with it. If you're on YouTube, I'm gonna point you right here to the video, and if not, I'm gonna link it down below for the podcast. But let me know what you think, and until the next video, God bless you in Jesus' name.